No!
Because bishop c4, queen takes f3. This was a masterpiece. Like, we were talking about how great some of the other games were. This one, sublime.
This is the greatest bullet chess combination of 2023, and I am not exaggerating. It's Magnus Carlsen playing with black. His opponent, Vidit Gujarati. It's the last 16 of the Speed Chess Championship, and it's bullet chess. So 1 minute on the clock plus 1 second per move increment. Now, before I dive into this exceptional game, in case you missed my video yesterday, do check out the description of this one in the link below at the end of this video, because there is a link to the most phenomenal chessboard hitting the market next year called Go Chess. Check out the website, check out the details, and the price point right now is ridiculous because it's early bird. It's the best time to buy. No further ado on that one, just check it out yourself at the end. Now into this game. So Vidit kicks off with d4. Magnus, knight f6, c4 and c5. Love to see it. The Benoni defense, meaning son of my sorrow in Hebrew. Now, how did it get this name? Well, maybe it's a sorrowful opening. You give white all the space. Are you going to get squashed? Well, this is one of black's big ideas. Fianchetto the bishop and start causing some trouble down this weakened diagonal. So knight c3, bishop g7, e4, white sets up that big center, trying to steamroll black. So d6, important move, cover the e5 square. We get bishop e2, why not knight f3 first? Well, often white wants to preserve this knight, not allow it to get chopped off. So that's the reason for this move order. And e6 from Magnus. You've got to try and undermine that big white center. Castles, pawn captures. And now white has a choice of how to recapture. Many games going in both directions. You know, if you take here with the e-pawn, so that wasn't played. Stuttering on my words. Well, then there are some pros and cons. So you don't have the weakened e-pawn to deal with, but now your bishop is a bit more locked in and no knight can make use of this square. If you do what Vidit did, which is take with the c-pawn, you've opened up the bishop, great. Now the knight can remaneuver, great, but there is some pressure going to come on this pawn. So pros and cons of each move. So now we get rook e8, immediately targeting the pawn. The knight drops back and covers, and now the maneuvering over these next few moves from Magnus is truly sublime. So knight a6, inviting white to shatter the pawns. But if you do this, it actually helps black more. You open up this b file in combination with the bishop, excuse me, that can get pretty nasty, and you can always run this one down, liquidate it. So no bishop captures. We see king h1 played, not strictly necessary, but after knight c7, then we see f3 played, and this is the point. It was prophylaxis against this bishop idea, you know, checks on the diagonal. So b6 now from Magnus, and this is an absolutely classy move. You know, I'd have been looking at a6 there for an immediate b5, etc. What's Magnus's idea? Well, after pawn a4, he goes rook b8, another kind of waiting move, obviously bringing the rook to an important file. He does eventually want that, but now when white goes knight c4, amazing piece, looming over the ramparts, attacking that pawn, which is the Achilles heel of black's position. Magnus now goes bishop a6. This is why he didn't yet commit the a-pawn. I mean, it's positional beauty in a bullet game. Look at his time, he's barely used seconds. And now, after bishop g5, Vidit completing the development, Magnus snaps off that knight. He knows when to give up bishop for knight. That was such a dominant piece. Yes, white has the bishop pair, but it's a bit of a closed position. You know, without the open board and the bishop screaming down in every direction, they're not as dangerous. Now he goes a6, preparing b5, trying to make this one look silly, you know, pick up a tempo. So queen d3 played, eyeing this square, preventing b5. So queen c8 from Magnus, transferring to b7 to support b5. Bishop f4, good move, eyeballing the pawn, which is now undefended. Magnus covers with the rook. And now here Vidit plays such a natural move, but not technically best. So the best, according to the engine, was rook ab1. But this is really a tough move to play. You know, you're preparing to go b4, and if Magnus carries on with the plan, this is decent for white. But just running it back here, typically you want to attack where your forces are concentrated. So there's this big concentration on the king side through the centre. So Vidit, he plays g4 and attacks there. But now he's subtly weakened his king, and after queen b7, it's actually Magnus's plans which are coming first, right? Just classic Magnus. He's always that step ahead. So queen c2 now played, giving this bishop some retreat room because b5 is coming. It's on the board. I mean, look at these pawns. Danya described them as a roller coaster of pawns, right? And once the roller coaster gets going, boy, it's tough to stop. So the bishop drops back. And now again, what an absolutely classy move from Magnus. Does he start pushing pawns, you know, too soon, maybe creating some weaknesses? No. Queen b6. What is the point of this? Well, after knight d1, anticipating these pawns coming, now Magnus goes knight d7. This was the point of queen b6, protects the pawn from the attack, because now the rook doesn't cover. And then here, after knight f2, c4, I mean, look at the kind of squares that this knight has now got available. I mean, it's just harmonious. How do you do this in bullet chess? He knows all the plans of every opening, whether he's playing a Benoni, a French, a Scotch, whatever. It's just crazy. We're witnessing greatness right now. He's a once-in-a-lifetime player, I tell you. So now, Vidit, he just goes wrong. Apparently, he should go g5 here, prepare knight g4, try and play on the dark squares, and keep challenging the open A file. But he plays rook a d1, ideas of b3, so you've removed the rook from the bishop's attack. But now Magnus, so astute as ever, doesn't go knight c5, could walk into bishop e3. He goes rook a8, best move, taking advantage of the opponent's last move. Now he's invading to hit this pawn. So Vidit goes b3, covering this invasion square, but guess what? You've got new problems. Now pawn c3. Magnus just rams this bone down Vidit's throat, and how do you get rid of that one? b4 is coming to support it. You know, dangerous passed pawn in the position. So what does Vidit do? He goes b4 in response, but now rook a4, ganging up on this lonesome pawn. So knight d3 covers. Amazing defensive octopus, yes, but Magnus intensifying the pressure. I mean, look at this knight. Hops back to a6. It went b8, a6, c7, back to a6, hitting this pawn, and it's soon going to become the star of the show. So queen b3 covers that pawn, and rook c8 from Magnus. The harmony of his pieces in this game is just beautiful. So rook c1, very natural, coming in front of the pawn, and now after Magnus invades, puts his rook on the line of this bishop, yes, but the moment the knight moves, well, the pawn is weak. And it's now attacked 3 times. White's only defending twice. What are you doing about that one? Well, Vidit finds a superb defensive move with rook to a1, and this sets up a problem for Magnus if he now captures with the knight, because you can then take this rook, and after pawn recaptures, this rook is loose. So taking this pawn, no good. The rook therefore takes in the corner. This rook recaptures, and now check out this clip.
And why is this so good for black?
Apparently, there's a ridiculous tactic that's never going to happen. If Magnus plays that move, I leave.
Wait, what's the point? Knight takes c4, knight take... Oh, he played it.
I'm leaving.
Oh!
So they're puzzled. What is going on? Why is black winning here? Why is the eval bar reacting? Well, there is an amazing, deep combination here in the position. Do by all means pause and look for it if you want to, but you've only got 9 or 10 seconds because that's how long Magnus took to find this combination. Just incredible. So, well done if you found this one. The move played is knight takes on b4. Now, why is this working? Because if you capture here, it looks like you've just lost a knight for nothing, and the bishop is open on your rook. So say you take here, well, you're just clearly worse, full piece down. What are you then doing about the attack here? Well, here's the follow-up move. Well done if you saw this. The move of queen to f2 comes on the board. It's a double exclam move when you run it with the game review.
If Magnus plays that move, I leave.
Wait, what's the point? Knight takes c4, knight takes... He played it.
I'm leaving.
Oh!
Now this bishop is attacked. What are you going to do about that one? Because white's threatening to, black's threatening to pick up the piece. If you take this rook, looks so natural, well now it's mate in 3. You check that king, the g4 move coming back to bite you, king goes and bishop d4 check. The bishop has to block and that is checkmate. What a combination. So the bishop cannot take the rook. Well, what happens if you say drop back to f1? Now if black takes this pawn, which is then the follow-up move, you can block here like this. Well, now guess what? You've got new problems. This loose piece drops off the board. All the tactics flowing and working for Magnus. So what happens then if you go in this direction with the bishop to still hold the pawn? Now there's queen f1 mate. So that bishop just cannot move. You get mated or you lose huge material. What if you then defend it with the queen? Well, now we take here, still winning. We win back the piece, the rook is invading. So Vidit, by process of elimination, he goes for rook to a2 to cover that bishop. And now again, one of the finer points of the variation, now you shut the trap on the white king with bishop to d4. You are threatening mate in 1 since the rook left the back rank. And look at the time situation. It really is just sublime chess. So queen d1 is played to cover the mate, and now Magnus picks up his piece back when he recaptures the knight. And it's all over now. Bishop g3. Kicks the queen. It has one escape square. How is he doing it? Houdini. Vidit takes here, hits that rook. Rook b2, hitting 2 pieces. So the rook's got to lop it off. Pawn recaptures, and after bishop d3, covering the queening square, queen c1 was the final move of the game. You're threatening to take the queen. If white takes your queen, you recapture and make a new one. What if you do this? Well, simple tactics. Now you make a new girl, and that is going to decide the game. What an absolutely stunning combination, and check out the reactions of Danya and Robert when this stuff is going on the board.
No!
Bishop c4, queen takes f3.
And now bishop d4 sets up the mate threat on g1. He's found that too. And Vidit has to abandon the knight. And that ends the combination.
Wow.
Queen e3. The queen has only one escape square, and it's enough. Rook b2, and it's over.
This was a masterpiece. Like, we were talking about how great some of the other games were. This one, sublime.
That would have taken me 30 minutes, and there'd be absolutely no guarantee that I would see that move. Knight takes b4. Are you kidding me?
I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Do check out the link below to see this incredible chessboard, lock in a great price, and if you want to see another great game of chess, do see the video on screen, and thanks very much for watching. See you soon.